That's Hunter.
What's going on with everyone? Another opportunity here to be on Monday Night Take, man. So super excited for today's show. Me and Tiara, we were brainstorming pretty much all last week. Was like, yo, what topic could we bring to you guys this week, right? And we talked a little bit about our struggles and the things that we kind of went through as entrepreneurs, whether it was me on the trading side or just starting in entrepreneurship, being younger. Tiara taking her leap of faith and hopping into, literally her own business after, leaving a pretty major company that, she highlights all the time. And it's like, yo, we felt like, it'd be good to highlight the journey, right? I think a lot of times, people talk about the end result, but what has really been the journey that we've been on, A to Z. So I'm here with my co-host, Tiara Swain. What's going on, Tiara?
Oh my gosh, Lawrence, it feels so good to be here. And hey, everyone that's tuning in, man, this topic really resonates with me because I remember, honestly, y'all, it's like a ton of sleepless nights.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times where I wanted to fit, I just wanted to just drop everything because I was completely over it. But I had to really lean on God, honestly. He really helped me see it through because we can go on and on about this one for sure, for sure.
Yeah, nah, super, super duper important. I mean, I think the journey of entrepreneurship is like a beautiful thing. And I think I really love entrepreneurship because it's something to look forward to every single day, right? Like
Yeah.
it's never something that's just, kind of like set in stone. Like there's things that are out there always for you to achieve. And I think that's what's, I pretty much like the most about entrepreneurship. It's just that there's always more to do, right? There's always more to do. There's always another obstacle that's pretty much right in your way, another task for you to complete. And I think that's what I love most about it.
Yeah.
But it's also unlimited too. So you're not limited to, well, someone saying you're worth 80,000 a year or someone
Right.
saying you're worth this a year. Like, nah, you can create what you're worth, right? But, pertaining to, your value, right? So you can literally create what you're worth. So I think that's, another huge thing for me.
Yeah,
You know,
but and I also think too, Lawrence, even just in terms of like when you go full time with your business, you need to learn how to like really how to adapt because you never know what's going to happen. Like whether it could be like from your finances or even from like current clients as well. Like I remember when I left LinkedIn, I made sure that I had about like I guess like four in terms of like months set aside with all of my bills, but whether I left LinkedIn, I didn't have any new clients for the whole month of June. And I was like, whoa, it was definitely a dry spell for sure. Like for
yeah.
sure. So yeah.
So what one thing I would ask you pretty much is like, yo,
Yeah.
so, when you were at LinkedIn, like,
Yeah.
what was kind of your thought process and how would I say this? Like when you were at LinkedIn, what really pushed you to leave? Like what was it in
Man,
that?
listen,
But how were you able to feel
that's
comfortable?
definitely a good question. So
Yeah.
I would say like during that time when I was working full time, because I managed over 140 accounts, I was trying to juggle it, right? So you all, I was running on 2 hours of sleep every day. It
Yeah.
was really hard. It was really hard. But what really drew me to really I'm sorry, what really drew me to go full time is that like helping my clients earn new jobs, like get their dream roles, earning these salary increases, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. It's just a feeling that I can't really, I guess, honestly describe.
Mhm.
And that's when I realized, I mean, no, like I'm really meant to do this because I would show up working at LinkedIn. I mean, yeah, I was still hitting my quota, but it just felt like I was just kind of just going through the motions, if that makes sense. And I realized I'm like, okay, I'm at a point in my life where if I don't do it, I'm gonna just keep stalling. Because I remember like the first time where I tried to actually open up my consulting business, it didn't work out well at all. It was terrible. It was terrible. So I realized that even then, like it was definitely like a timing thing for sure.
Mhm.
But so yeah, so when I made that decision, I connected with my manager and I let him know. I let him know 3 months ahead, like, hey, I'm leaving in June.
Yeah.
Okay. And my manager was surprised. He was like, man, I'm surprised you stayed this long because he was the main one that really supported me during that process. And I was very nervous because I'm like, man, like, I was like one of like the top performers on my team, and I didn't know how they were going to take it. But I'm just really thankful and fortunate that they really embraced it. But something that I will say, Lawrence, is like I tried different strategies. So I'm like, okay, so maybe I can maybe just take clients after hours.
Hmm.
And then something that I really tried to do is complete all of my tasks at work by Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I was trying like different things, but what was happening was that I was receiving too like just like a lot of requests. I couldn't
Right.
keep up with like honestly like with the demand of my business. So I realized I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. Because in all honesty, everyone that's listening, you can't run from God's purpose for your life. And
Yeah.
I feel like it seemed like every week leading up to that moment, I kept getting confirmation. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is definitely the right path to go on for sure. But my manager told me this that he didn't feel comfortable with me leaving LinkedIn
Mm.
unless I had 3 streams of income already set up. So I'm
Okay.
happy that he actually said that because he was like, I'm not going to accept a resignation until you do this. So I had
Yeah.
to make sure I put everything in place. So I started doing workshops with schools, like with schools
Hmm.
and parents, along with my career consultant. And then I gave like presentations and stuff like that, like workshops.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. I would say for me, entrepreneurship, like I want to really get into my story pretty much here tonight because for me, I was flustered in the entrepreneurship, right? I think I want to have this conversation with people because it's like at the end of the day, I realized when I was a senior in high school, let's like, I really want to take this back, even to before the stock market, right?
Yeah.
All I heard when I was in high school from teachers was like, hey, if you don't get good grades and go to college, you won't be anything. You're not going to be able to be successful in life, this and that. And I just feel like for me, like I always saw through that. I was just like, yo, they feeding me a bunch of BS, right? That's
Yeah.
just the bottom line of the way I looked at it. Because for me, when I went out in the real world, the people that I knew were making the most money, none of them had degrees.
Right.
All of them were all entrepreneurs, and all of them have been through some sort of struggle in the beginning process to get to where they were at now in their current business. So for me, I was like, yo, like entrepreneurship for me, it's a journey, right? It's a marathon, never a sprint. And so like I looked at it and I said, yo, being an entrepreneur, yeah, it might not be the like in some people's eyes, like security is important to them, right?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and
Makes sense.
security is definitely important to me as well. But I also don't like to be minimized. I don't like being told what I'm worth. And I realized that at like a young age. And I realized that like I can control. I like to be in control of the variables, right? I don't like when people can like hang things over my head or be in the control of variables. Like I don't like the reason why for me, like I never really liked jobs, and the reason like I don't like someone having the ability to press a button, log me out of my stuff, and send me home, and it's like
Yeah.
no, I'm not able to feed my family. Like the thought process in that's how I think. So it's like, yeah, jobs are cool, jobs are great. I want everyone to be employed and be happily employed. But I looked
Yeah.
at it and said, yo, like for me, I just know that my personality, like for one, I don't like people that like try to tell me what to do all the time. I don't like that. I like to like beat the horse to my own drum. I like to control what I can control. So entrepreneurship for me was never about the money though. I think that's
Right.
important too. It's really about the time, right? The time, right? The time freedom. So I love the ability to be able to create my own schedule, um,
Yeah.
show up pretty much when I want to. And do my thing, man, because I think like time is the most important thing. We only have a limited amount of time here on this earth, man. So that's how I viewed entrepreneurship. I was like, yo, how can I create more time for myself?
Uh,
But in my first days of being an entrepreneur, I was still working multiple jobs, and that was okay because
yeah.
working those jobs taught you systems, taught you structure, which I think is something that's not spoken about a lot, but I think it's super, super, super important.
Yeah. So listen, you're touching on something that's really important just in terms of like making sure that all of your processes are streamlined because that's going to give you time back to rededicate other things. And I know as an entrepreneur, I had to learn especially when I was doing this on my own, like I couldn't handle it all. So when I hired an assistant, I had to realize, okay, I had to actually learn how to delegate, right, in terms of these responsibilities and take it on because I thought I could handle everything. I never would have imagined where I'm at right now. I'm like, my gosh, like I have like three
But
assistants
you lit
now.
though.
Like
You lit.
I can't believe it. Like I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. And I know what's interesting with my story is that like I grew up with a single dad. I'm from Philly. You always don't hear things like that, but yeah, like I'm just really fortunate for my dad because if I think about it, my dad was really like the center of my business. So I created a resume. I'm sorry, no. My dad would have me volunteer at a lot. So I would volunteer at churches, hospitals, and things like that. And I used to love baking cupcakes, Lauren. So that was my
Mhm.
thing, okay, baking cupcakes. And then
Mhm.
my dad started asking me questions like, okay, so how many cupcakes did you do? Or like, did you make? Did you follow the instructions correctly? And I was telling
Mhm.
my dad, I don't remember. I don't know all this. And then that's when he paused. And I was 10 years old. And he was like,
Mm.
he pulled out a computer. He was like, "What is this read?" Like he basically asked me like, like what is this word? And I was like, I don't know, like what a resume is. And that's when he corrected me. He was like, "No, T, this is called a resume. This is how you're able to highlight all of your accomplishments. It's like that way you can never forget." And
Mm.
so, and if I think about it, that was really the start, like really like the foundation of my business. And so whenever I would acquire like internships in
Mhm.
high school and college, I would always update that because my dad always said that just here in like in America, right? Like we don't have like the same in terms of like just level of access. In terms of like what you see like overseas and whatnot. So my dad was like, but no one can outwork you in terms of like experience. And
Mhm.
so I told my dad, yeah, I really want to be able to like set like myself apart. So I was able to land internships at like Johnson and Wales in North Carolina, UPenn and things like that because I wanted to stand out. And it's just interesting. It's like I'm taking my own like same clients, right, that are going through this own journey. I went through it too. Like in terms of like what do you got to do to stand out? I remember applying to 500 jobs in a month, not getting seen. So I just want everyone to really just learn from my own mistakes there too.
Mhm.
Like, and I remember you touched on something that was really important too, in terms of like determining your worth. When I left my first job out of college, I realized that they were underpaying me, and I learned that through when I was interviewing at other companies. Because
Mhm.
at that time, I only got a straight salary and I had a bonus. I didn't
Mhm.
know that sales representatives could get commission. As crazy as it sounded, like that's just how like the company was set up. And so when I was doing the math, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're underpaying me by like $50,000. Yeah, I was
Jeez.
done. I had like a realization. I'm like, man, all of my student loans could have been paid.
Yeah.
Like if I was actually like in terms of me like really earning what I am worth. So yeah,
Nah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
super powerful because I mean, for me, like even looking at it this way, right? So, as I got started on my journey, I
yeah,
also looked at like the opportunity cost, like what kind of time was I putting in compared to what time I could put in on my own thing, and will my own thing be everlasting, right? So, if someone asked
yeah,
a question like, "What did I do pretty much to get started?" I sat down and pretty much laid all the variables out for myself. And I was like, yo, what are the things out here that I can actually do? Like, what are my
right,
passions? What are some things that I'm passionate about? What is my skill set? But then also give a shout out to, Coach Gene Austin. Pretty much just, I would just really say just about doing that market research to see, does your business actually make sense, right? Does it actually make sense? What is the
yeah,
purpose? What is it serving? Right? Who is it serving? What's your target audience? Like these are different questions, that I pretty much answered, to myself first before getting started pretty much as an entrepreneur. Um, and I'll be honest with you, like for me, I love trading because I deal with me, right? It's a me thing. Like I'm not
yeah,
dealing with like 30 employees. I'm not dealing with a restaurant. I'm not dealing with all of that. Like I like trading because it's me. Um,
yeah,
I'm responsible for things. And if something doesn't get done, well, I know who I can blame. I can blame myself. And that goes back to your personality type, where it's like for me,
mhm,
I like the ball in my hands, right? Like if I was an NBA player, I would probably be Kobe Bryant. And I'm like, yo, wave people off.
yeah,
I'm gonna take the shots, like just get out my way. But that's the reality. So you gotta kind of like know who you are as a person, right? And that's just my reality, right? At the end of the day. That's
yeah,
so you knowing that you're able to kind of better fit some things. Someone said, do you have any role models? Um, I would say that growing up, I admired people like Mark Cuban, people that
Yeah.
big business moguls. I admired people like that, and their journey and their processes and their systems. I even admire someone like a Elon Musk, right? I think there's a lot to learn, from someone like him. I think anyone who's reached a certain status in life, I'm willing to learn from them, no matter race, right? I don't discriminate when it comes to that because, like,
Right.
there's things and tools that that you can take from individuals to be able to learn. So that's why I would say and I know we talked about, when it comes to mentorship, um,
Yeah. Yes.
and I think when it comes to mentorship, I think mentorship is super important. But mentorship comes in different forms. But also you have to be someone that executes when it comes to mentorship too, right?
Yeah.
Like as someone, if you're gonna go and seek mentorship, you have to be willing to put in the work too. Like it's not just the mentor's responsibility to do stuff,
Right.
also you as the mentee. So I would say that, for me, like the mentorship that I had, what came in different forms. Like I would say the mentorship that I had never came directly from someone that was a stock market trader, right? I had a mentor in my barber, right? Where, I would come in pretty much after school and, I would just sit down and just talk with him. And I think mentorship was just like super, super, super duper important from a barber perspective, right?
Yeah.
Um, you
That's
know,
dope. I love
like
that.
he was like from my barber, he was giving me perspective as far as different things that he did in his life, that pretty much just ended, in him being, put into a position where there were some compromising situations. But it's just kind of like learning from other people's mistakes, I think is super important when it comes to entrepreneurship. You're
Absolutely.
learning from other people's mistakes. It just it makes your journey a lot easier too, right? So what were some of the mistakes that I witnessed, that my barber had, just little things like, when it came to like just marketing his business, he wasn't on top of it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, just also sometimes being a little bit lenient with people that he had a friendship with, but they also might have potentially been in business together. I think that was
Right.
a valuable that provided me some valuable insight, because I think even, now I think sometimes when you go into business with friends or you're doing business with friends, sometimes that thing can get a little bit tricky because there's a personal relationship involved, not just a business relationship.
Yeah.
So, that was, those things that I'm like, so I was taking in, mind you, 16, 17 years old. I've always been receptive. Like I've always hung around older people. Like I'm 23, but yet I lack 23-year-old friends. Pretty much all my friends are definitely at least maybe got 10 years on me, right? At minimum.
Yeah.
So, but I like it that way because they've already been through certain things in life that I haven't experienced it, which is great. I can now take from them and learn from them to be able to add to my journey when it comes to life or entrepreneurship. So if I'm speaking to someone who's a 35-year-old or a 40-year-old or 45-year-old entrepreneur, there's so much that I can learn from them because there's a huge gap difference. So I seek mentorship from people who have already done the things that I'm
Yeah.
looking to do. I'm seeking mentorship from people that have already done things that I'm looking to do. All right, I think it's super
Yeah.
super important, and being receptive, right, to it.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, at first you need to make sure that you have like your business has to have all of the right foundation. So you need to make sure you're registering it, like your LLC, or if you get like an S corp, like whatever that looks like for you. You need to create your EIN number. You need to create and have a credible business banking account. I can't stress that enough. Okay, Lawrence is laughing, but we'll get into that a little bit later about that. But now, in terms of mentorships, I actually have three different mentors. So like the first mentor I have, her name is Shamiko Cole. Shout out to her. The reason why what really gravitated me towards her was that she's worked with different types of like businesses in different industries. She's very credible. She has over 30 years of experience. And I really learned like a lot from her. So she was actually the one that scaled my business
Hmm.
to automate all the processes, having everything in place, and making sure that I have a right contract as well. I cannot stress this enough. As a business owner, you need to always have a contract, okay? Whether you're doing a free event, whether you're doing a paid event, it doesn't matter. Now, like in terms of like things like what I learned like they're like I'm sorry, I learned like the term in terms of like not having, like a no guarantee. I learned that the hard way. I remember I had a client, Lawrence, and everyone that's tuning in, she basically wasn't getting like a lot of traction, but so she had like a really niche background. She was trying to get to like work on like Capitol Hill and whatnot. And I was doing like everything that basically helped my other clients. And so I was telling her, like, hey, like, get connected with staffing firms. You got to start networking and things like that. So she lived in a very rural area. And I said, hey, you might need to relocate to like the DMV area. But what we later found out was she was already like, she went for this job. HR was, I believe, like she was on vacation, which was out of our control. But even like that, getting something in place. So because I didn't have that a part of my contract, I felt really bad. Even after she got the job, I still gave her like a partial refund and stuff like that. But after that moment, yeah, no guarantee.
Yeah.
No guarantee. That's what I learned from there. And I also included like a no refund clause as well because I know my worth. Okay. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like when you have clients, especially as a consultant, you need to make sure that they put in the work. So what Lauren said, it's you have to make sure that you execute, okay? And that's basically something that I value when I had a mentor, because when she would give me tasks, I would finish everything in advance for her. And she even said that too. She said I was one of her favorite clients to work with because I took it seriously. Because guess what? If I value their time, I want to make sure I deliver, okay? So in terms of like having that type of mentor, so she knows the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay, of my business.
Yeah.
Now, I also have another mentor that can introduce me to opportunities when I'm not in the room, okay? Because I want to be able to basically like have them to like shed light. So they're very like popular in like HR in terms of talent acquisition. And so she's worked at Nike, Meta, Google as well. So right now she's at Microsoft. So I don't. She doesn't ever feel comfortable with me sharing her name, so I can't. But I want to let you know that with her, she's definitely introduced opportunities for me that I'm just so grateful to have. And then lastly, I have a mentor of a different demographic. Okay, I do. I do, because I'm going to have access to his network. Okay. So what Lauren said is really important. Like, honestly, like whether it's your ethnicity, it shouldn't matter. Okay. I want to know who's going to have the most value in my life so I can bring the most value to my own clients. Okay. And something else that really helped, that really stood me apart was when I was launching my business, I already had reviews. I already made sure that when I work with my clients, I did pro bono because I wanted to know, hey, does this process work? Or if it doesn't work and things of that nature, okay? Because I want to know, if, especially if I'm starting to charge people my worth and things of that nature, I got to make sure I deliver on my own end as well. So yes,
Yep.
definitely making sure like how you execute there, because it's always hard when you don't have in terms of like those client testimonials, because you haven't built any credibility like publicly. So yes.
Yeah, nah, because when I first started, and that's super important. Me first, when I first started was one thing I would say when I first started, everything I did was off of pretty much word of mouth. It wasn't even
Yeah.
it wasn't anyone that it was I wasn't doing any marketing or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
my dorm room was filled of 40 people because I had 100 people on campus able to vouch that I was
Exactly.
changing their lives, right? Or I was
Yeah.
shifting their mindset into what they thought, finances and certain things were about. So I think that's, another thing I would highlight too is, one thing that I would say is super, super duper important
Yeah.
at this point in time. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, so I got a question for you, Lauren. So, what's like one of like the greatest lessons that you've ever learned so far in terms of your business, like being an entrepreneur?
Don't be nice in business.
Whoo, that's it. That's it. That's
Business
it.
is
That's it.
business is business. I also would say another thing that I feel like was super important. Um, don't undervalue yourself, which is super important. Um, and your price is your price. Set your price, stick to it. Your price is your price. I think when I was like, I think for me, because I'm really a caring person, but I realize a lot of times like people try to take advantage of that. And I think that a lot of business owners sometimes get taken advantage of from being too lenient. Like if you set the terms as a business owner for the service or product, whatever you're providing to people, whatever, like stick to it, right? Because if you
Yeah.
take a look at all the businesses we go to, like whether it's you go to Target, Walmart right now, you go to Apple, you go anywhere, right? You go to these businesses, they have their terms and how they operate. They have their procedures and policies, all those things, right? So I think that those were important things that I learned, in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, early. And I think sometimes it can be tough. Like it's definitely, it definitely can be tough in the beginning. This is something brand new to you. It can be definitely something that's tough and, not easy. It's an adjustment. But these were the valuable lessons that I think that I've learned. People, and sometimes, man, people do, shady and shicey stuff, man. So just keep
Yeah.
that in mind when it comes to business, man. Be careful who you go into business with, right? I think
Yes.
that's probably one of the most valuable things that I can say is like, yo, be careful who you go into business with, right? Be careful who you go into business with. Bottom line, right? Because who you go into business with is, in my opinion, super, super duper important. You want to be careful who you go into business with. Bottom line, bottom
Yeah.
line.
Man, I'll plus one to that. Okay. I agree. And a great lesson that I learned is making sure that I have a team that I trust, okay, to support me. Because I remember I had an assistant and I didn't know, but just from like my client's perspective, she would take like up to a week to respond. And I didn't know anything that was going on. So I had to also learn to have really like due diligence, right, with that in terms of following up. And I felt so bad
Mhm.
because I would think like, man, like I just thought that she was following up. Like I just didn't want anyone to ever experience that because I wouldn't want to experience that. And so I
Right.
also want to make sure. So when I hire like my new team, yeah, you got like a 24 hours response. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Facts.
not. Yeah, no, 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 no. Because even if it wasn't my mistake, it's still my mistake as an owner. Like you're gonna still take that L, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
yeah, and what I did was I even, of course, so you got to make sure that they sign an agreement. But I also
Mhm.
kind of like gave them like small tasks to do, okay, to just prove them like, okay, cool, like I like this, I can see like how they think and things of that nature, and I got to make sure that they have my own best interests because
Definitely.
I've had my own friends that are in different sectors that are entrepreneurs, and they've had like assistants stealing from them,
Mhm.
unfortunately, like under their nose that they didn't know
Yeah.
about.
And shout
Yeah,
out to Cameron and Dee Dee, man. I got two. Pretty much, Cameron and Didi are like sisters to me for one.
yeah,
For one there. So, I think that's super important. So having the right team around you, I think
yeah,
is another thing to the point you just made about, people stealing from you because people will steal from you, right? To
yes,
give you guys a valid lesson in entrepreneurship, right? When I first started, and because you asked me, also don't be too open to sharing your business ideas with everyone. I learned that at like
never.
18,
Sorry,
18
I'm sorry, Lawrence. I'm sorry, sorry.
Nah, but I was 18 or 19. You thinking that you could trust people and stuff like that. Plus, you're at 18 or 19, I'm naive, right? I'm like,
Right.
literally, people tried to copy the things that I was doing verbatim, right? And pretend like it was all their idea, right? So I think that was
Mhm.
another valuable thing in business. Do not share, right? Do not share the things that you're looking to potentially maybe do, right? You don't have to announce a lot of stuff, right? And I think that
Right.
there's a lot of times there's snakes hiding in the grass, right? And also be careful, of making business deals out of looking to try to get something in the future. Sometimes, it's best to just do things by yourself. Like I think a lot of times, like people get into these partnerships that don't really make sense, right?
Yeah.
And I was a lot easier when in my younger years, right? And I'm only 23, and here I go talking about young.
No, 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 no. But you're really wise though, so I'm not even
Yeah,
gonna take
so
that.
but
Go
yeah,
ahead.
but a few years back, I was a lot easier to partner with, right? I don't partner with a lot of people anymore. I really like to move by myself. You guys see my co-host here, Tiara. There's a reason why I'm working. You guys have probably seen a lot of work that we put in. You're gonna continue to see a lot of work. And the reason why is because there's not a lot of genuine people out here. I know that the reality is a lot of people might think that, but it comes far and few between. So, you know, take advantage of the partnerships that you see are really genuine and really work, and just focus on those. I think a lot of times as business owners, we try to partner with everyone. We try to do this with everyone, right? And sometimes the best thing to do is just stick to what works, right? Stick to the
Yeah.
relationships that you have that work. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. And something else that I would also say is don't be afraid to take risks. Okay, like really think about that stuff because that's really how you're going to learn. I
Mm,
can't stress that enough. And to Lauren's point, just be careful who you have around in terms of you doing business. Every day, you all, I get different proposals, and I have a team. Like I have a legal team that reviews it because they're gonna let me know, yeah, this is good or this is not. Okay, because I will never forget it was a contract. It was like even from a marketing company. They had something in like 6 font that you couldn't even read. So
wow.
like this one guy that I work with, he has a magnifying glass, as crazy as it sounds. Shout out to Mike, but no, he has a magnifying glass and he checks everything. Okay, so he was able to catch that they had like a little disclaimer that basically means that like I would have to dish out more money after like 3 months or whatever, right? And so it's
Mhm.
really important for you to read that contract, okay, and even have like another set of eyes that you trust, okay.
Yeah.
That is for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah, nah, having those extra set of eyes, man, and really getting counsel. Like I think, like, cause I know there's a lot of business coaches out here, and me and Tiara by no means necessarily are we the experts of business, right? We're not claiming
Hmm.
any of that. But I also think having the right advisors, business advisors, right? Like you
Yeah.
saw me bring on someone like Coach. I think Coach is someone well versed. There's a lot of other people out there, but even running like even having your ideas run through different business advisors and different people that you trust, right? And
Yeah.
seek out and go and take a look and find people that might already be doing what you're doing, right? And
Exactly.
look to learn from them and look to learn from their experiences. Because for me, I mean, I know that like I had an internship actually with the Atlanta Hawks. And this was when
Hmm.
I was actually, what was it? Yeah, I was a freshman. I was a freshman in college. So I actually had an internship with the Atlanta Hawks, and it was good to be around the front office because I was able to be around the GM at the time. So I was able to kind of like, kind of like see certain things behind the scenes, right? And when it came to like how a business would run, you talk about the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA, that's $1 billion industry right there. So I was able to kind of pull from the things that I learned there and then apply them into my business as I was growing. So I look at that as well too. Get into the rooms, get like do your best to get into the rooms that you should be in, right? I think
Yeah,
that's a
yeah. That
super
worked in.
super important point because in reality that's what helped me a lot too, was getting into those rooms. um
Yeah. I do
yeah.
agree with that. You know what? I want to piggyback on that. So I would say, like for myself, what helped me, I actually have a networking calendar, like literally. So like every month, I am
Mhm,
dedicated to going to at least like 2 to 3 networking events for me to get my
mhm.
business out there. Okay. I
So
also got
people
to
got to
make sure
know
that
what TR do.
exactly. No, exactly. 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 So I'm in the career space, but I'm also in different industries. Okay. So, like for me, I'm making sure I'm getting connected with diversity and inclusion managers, recruiters, right? Managers, or like even like just in general, that could be supervisors or things of that nature. Okay. I'm making sure that my network, like when they say your network is your net worth, this is what they mean. So on LinkedIn, right now, I have 7,400 first degree connections.
Mm,
But I have 1.3 million second degree connections. Okay. So you
mm,
understand how powerful that is? So
super
every day I'm strategically adding to my network. Okay. That could be my target audience, right? Or that
powerful.
could be even potential partnerships. And I'm telling you this right now, you all should be networking. I mean, I would say like never be afraid to put yourself out there. Okay. Get your
Mhm,
business cards ready, but you need to also have your elevator pitch ready. Okay. Like I have one that's 30 seconds, a 60-second one, and a 90-second one as well. Okay. And it's like anything like for me, like I have a pitch that's dedicated for other CEOs, and I have a pitch that's dedicated that could be maybe for people that could be in finance, right? That could be a part of maybe that decision maker. So what I learned at LinkedIn is called the importance of multi-threading. Okay. So
mhm.
sometimes, especially like depending on if it's a large corporation, you might
Yeah.
need to connect with marketing, accounting, like things of that nature, but you got to understand what are their own pain points and what matters to them. Because what's going to matter to a CEO is going to be different from finance. See, finance, they never want to spend any money, Lawrence, okay? They never want to spend any checks. They can be really cheap with that. So yeah, like it's really important. And I would also say making sure you have a business plan. Okay, set out your goals, understanding like what is your target audience. I know for me, I specialize in enhancing professional brands, right, by elevating their LinkedIn resume interview preparation strategies. Okay, because I want to
Yeah.
make sure my clients are going to reach their dream jobs, right? I'm going to make sure that they're going to get there. But I think what's also important is It's also, I think, really important to, like, I guess, really to understand that you don't have to take every client that wants to use your services. Okay,
Mhm.
there are red flags to also pay attention to on that end as well. Because I don't need to take every client. Okay, because one, I'm not
That's
going to have
that's the
to
bar
with.
right there.
I cannot. You do not have to. You not. And I think it's
All
also.
money ain't good money.
Oh my gosh, right. That's, man, that was like one of the first lessons that my dad taught me. Oh, money's not good money. So you should be able to really gauge it, because if you have someone that's really problematic with the attitude, I don't want to work with someone like that, because we're not going to get far. Okay. I need to get someone that really, if you want to be a client of mine, I need you to be a sponge. Okay. I need you to be a sponge, but you need to also trust me during this process, because when you're in this role right now, right? It's hard right now, I would honestly say, being career coaches, because we're fighting against a market that every day someone's getting laid off. Okay. It's like we have to fight against so many pressures that we can't control. But the pressures that I can control, I'm gonna make sure you top notch. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure that for sure.
Yeah, nah, because like like you mentioning that, that just brings me to the point of, like, in a reality, in today's real world, like, you have to literally stay on your toes for anything, right? There's so many shakeups that happen on a day-to-day basis, and
Yeah.
that's the journey of entrepreneurship. There's going to be shift, there's going to be shakeups, there's going to be times where you got to really get creative, right? You really got to go in
Yeah.
your bag to really pull out some good ideas, and that's one thing I really love. So I know for me and coming from each of our individual backgrounds, there was
Yeah.
times in our entrepreneurship journey where things were frustrated, things weren't peaches and cream, things weren't necessarily the easiest, right? But those are the
Yeah.
times you look forward to, and those are the times you really learn the most. Like, the most I've learned in entrepreneurship, in business, in trading stocks, right, in being an investor, right, all of those different titles, I've learned that you have to adapt, right? You have to be able to
Yeah.
adapt to what's happening, right? You have to be able to adapt, and you have to stay always 10 toes down. I think that's super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do. You do. And I would also say, like, for me, and I'll be honest with you all. Yes, my bills were paid, but what I had to learn for myself is that I didn't save enough money going full time. Even though, yes, LinkedIn was funding my business per se,
Mhm.
that's something that I really wish. So I don't want anyone to experience that, because I went with a week literally just eating French fries because that's the only thing I could afford.
Yeah.
Dead ass, okay? Like, I cannot. I'm not even sugarcoating this, okay? I know what it's like
Mhm.
when you're up, running on any, like no hours of sleep and all that. It's not conducive for your business. So what I also had to learn was having healthy outlets. So I box and I kickbox actually now to really have that. And I know that with Lawrence, he works out all the time. So you
Yeah.
definitely want to make sure that you have it, because I mean, although we are, full time, we deserve to have a proper work-life balance too. Okay, learn when, if you got to like shut your computer off, but you may have to learn that too. So
Yeah. I think
yeah.
even setting boundaries, man. People gotta, like, sometimes
Yeah.
people have boundaries, man. Set your boundaries. I think I was loose on it, trying to be you know,
Yeah.
Superman, hero, all that good stuff, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes I just think sometimes you don't want to you want to be able to separate your business from your personal life. I think that's super important in that balance,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's okay for you. Like, sometimes when you first start your business, you want to work in your business so much. Like I would definitely highlight, that Cameron and Dee Dee were definitely probably, like, I would say would I won't say probably, they were probably, let me see me. They were the best investment that I made, right? In my,
Yes, I love them. Yo, they're the best. I love them so
yeah,
much.
yeah, they were the best investment that I made in my business, because it took a lot of the things that I used to have to do. I don't have to do them anymore. I have
Right.
them, I have them to do it, right? And it makes it easier, because it's like, it can be, business can be stressful, man. Like, real talk,
Exactly.
right? Business can be stressful. Like, let's not get it twisted. Business can be stressful. So I think that, you know, for me, having a team, but you have to get to a certain point first, um, before hiring a team. You want to get to a certain point, right? Like, don't just
Yeah.
go out there and just have a team and you can't afford it, right? I think
Right.
that's super important. Like, get to a place in business first before doing that. Like, I think that's super important. Like, get to a place in business first to where you can afford it. That's
Yeah.
one that's one thing
Yeah.
that
Like, I know for me, it was coming to a point where I was afraid to answer my messages because I would get too many, like from LinkedIn. Instagram, Twitter, even my own email. So that's when I recognized, yeah, I cannot do this on my own. And even just having like my assistants take over my consultations, it gives me so much time back for me to dedicate one for me to for me to work on business opportunities, right, for myself, as well as for me to dedicate more time to my current clients. Because if I want to give quality work, I have to make sure that I have like really just enough time for it. Because this time versus where I was last year, I'm
Yeah.
super busy right now, super busy. So that's what I realized. Like, nah, I definitely need to have a credible team for sure. And what's pretty dope is we have like our own like brainstorming sessions and things like that. They have their own aspirations that I'm going to support too.
Mhm.
So yeah,
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 now having a team, man, will get you a long way. So,
yeah,
you know, I realized that I think in the beginning process, some of the mistakes that I made was I wanted to be too involved, wanted to kind of do too much. But
yeah,
it's also when you have a passion, if you have a passion and love for what you're doing, you want to be involved because you know
yeah,
all steps and processes of the business, right? Of the thing
yeah.
that you're doing, the procedure, and you want to be involved as much as possible. You want to do everything you can do to make sure that
Yeah.
that succeeds. So, yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's what goes to your point is like just the importance of being able to delegate it away, okay?
Mm,
Because it's going to save you time back, like
yep.
for sure.
Get your
So
time back. Yep. That family life
yeah,
balance, those different things. So, yeah. So,
yeah, but I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say that just even like in general, you will have to sacrifice though. Okay, it comes with the territory. I
Hmm.
know might sound really crazy, but I learned is that I have to work more as a business owner. I thought it was gonna be easier because at that time when I was working my two jobs, I'm like, no, it's gonna be easier. My cousin Brittany, she was like, no, to you work more, and I'm like, for real, like what? Because I never thought I would even own a business ever. I
Hmm.
thought that if I saw it like 5 years ago, I was still working my job back in Maryland.
Hmm.
Like literally, like still working at Pepsi, still doing the same type of role. So never would I have imagined that like God was basically giving me this really big assignment, right? So I would just say like anything worth having is worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Okay, so like especially too like I would say like learn your activities, right? But it's also important for you to learn your numbers. As a
Hmm.
CEO, Lawrence should know at any given time how much money is in his bank account. Okay, how much money should he anticipate? What are his expenses? You should
Yep.
always know that at all, like at any given time,
Know
for
that at
sure.
all costs. You should always know those things. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just even having a structure, man, like building your days out. Like now, like even me having a calendar now, that was something that I didn't always utilize the I think best. Think just having a calendar, but I
Yeah.
also yeah just having that balance, man. Spend time with your fam because for me obviously having my son, my daughter, is busy, and those are things that are important to me. So getting time with them, picking them up from school, like those things as an entrepreneur, right? I remember, you know, growing up, like I could probably think as far as how many times, my parents actually were able to spend time with me after school, or were they worried about cooking dinner and getting to bed
Hmm.
for the next. So for me, it's like, yo, I love to just be able to vibe, that like those are things like time is the most valuable thing. So I think the journey of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship really shows you like in entrepreneurship, you need to be able to balance family and business. Like it's super important. I think being younger as an entrepreneur, I think that there was a lack of balance in that regard. And I think it's tough though too when you're a growing business, like when you're essentially a growth business, when you're just starting, it's I won't say impossible, but it's definitely hard because there's so much things that go into it, right? Like everyone sees, okay, like for example, like Tiara was just here in Atlanta this past weekend at the the Breakthrough Experience conference that Raquel, Amber, and Kathy Gray, the whole group and gang put together. Um, and TR was part of the team along with special shout out to Alexandria. When you think about this, right? Like all of, like what goes into that, right? How
Yeah.
like if people could even think about, well, how did Raquel actually build her brand, or how was I able to speak at it? Like how does things get to points like this? And it's like, yo, it's time, dedication, money, effort, right?
Yeah.
How much time are you going to put in? How much dedication are you going to have? How much effort are you going to put in? Like if I like all I can say, like I sat this morning on a live trading session, right? I did a live trading session for my
Yeah.
community, and it was about, I think, what, about 170, 180 people on there. But I'm sharing my screen. I'm showing people how I'm making money, how I'm pulling and extracting money out of the market. That's a skill set. That's a skill set. So as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to have a proof of concept, right? A
Yeah.
proof of concept, super important. Whether you're selling TVs, right? Whether you're cutting hair, your proof of concept. If you're selling TVs, you should be able to prove. Well, why should I buy the TV from you? Why is it
Exactly.
the best TV? If you're a barber, you should be able to prove. Well, you should have proof of concept as to you showing the best haircuts. As a stock trader, you should be able to show your P&L. What is your
Yeah.
accuracy level? While I was on this Zoom call, I was telling people today, I was saying, yo, I'm going to trade this. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to get out here. This is what I'm going to do. So people understand when they learn from me, right? There's a proof of concept. Like there's
Yeah.
no fluff, right? There's no fluff. I'm
Exactly.
going to teach you. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do to make money from the markets. There's not a so you like proof of concept. I think as a business owner is something that's so important. And
Yeah.
also, I think sometimes people get mixed up with the marketing. Some of the best businesses that we know, they don't do any marketing. No marketing. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a great business model. When was the last time you seen a Chick-fil-A commercial? I haven't seen it. Right? When it comes to Tesla, when was the last time you seen a Tesla commercial? I haven't seen one either. A lot of these businesses, the best businesses, they don't need to do all this mass marketing. It's nothing wrong with
Mhm.
it, but your product should speak for itself. If Apple never ran an ad for an iPhone again, people are still going to be buying iPhones.
Right.
So
I just bought the 14 actually the other day. So
if
no,
you
you're
know
right
the
about that.
value, you know the value, and you didn't need to see a commercial to make you say, "Well, I got to go get this iPhone."
Right, right. Because I'm already bought in, like to their brand already.
I already
I'm
bought
already
it.
loyal. I'm already
So that's
loyal.
how I look at it. For me, is like, yo, like when people like, and I get it. We got people out, people like Lawrence. You should be doing this for your marketing. I get it. Definitely it's important.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my results speak for itself. I'll be real with you. You see
Yeah.
what?
I mean, so listen, so I'm about to, but not even challenge you, but I just want to like just give you another perspective. So what you do a great job at, Lawrence, right now is you always provide value. So if you are a business owner, and this is what I would inform my when I used to manage all those accounts at LinkedIn, it's called the rule of three. Every three posts, you want to give something free, okay? With some of these gems, you don't got to tell them all of like how to do in terms of all the processes, but just to give them to show that you are a thought leader in your sector. Because all this information that Lawrence is proving, what I show like my own current clients, basically is that I'm basically credible and I'm valid to work with. Okay. So when
Mhm.
I'm sharing free interview pro strategies, giving you like some like salary negotiation templates, all this is showing is that I'm valuable to work with. Okay, and that I genuinely care. Okay, and then your fourth ask would be that call to action. Maybe like taking new clients, right, and stuff like that. Now, other ways that I just also wanted to just touch on quickly is that I've also used different tools. So like my team, like we leverage QuickBooks in terms of like the accounting piece.
Mhm.
I also use a project management tool. Like I use Asana and I use HubSpot because I need to hold myself accountable. And I'm a person, y'all. I need to see a to do list every day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's like I feed off of like when everything gets accomplished. I need that because I'm that type of person in order for me to stay organized. Okay, I'm not that person. If I say I'm gonna do it, I need to write it down. Okay, because they're gonna. It's just like a lot of information every day that you're gonna like that you're just gonna receive. So I would say just really just stay organized for sure. Okay.
Mhm.
And then also too to piggyback on having a team that you trust, you need to make sure that you have an accountant. Okay, that genuinely cares about you. Like I know for me, I can't have my accountant live in another state. I gotta meet up with her in person. We literally
Mhm.
meet every quarter. We
Yep.
talk about in terms of like what are my businesses, what are my goals up until 2030. We already mapping everything out right now for it. So yes. And she holds me accountable too. And for man, she don't play. Like Ariana does not play. She does not play. She does not play.
Mhm.
Especially because in terms of like the products that I'm going to start to launch, it's going to be very different from like just from the career side. So yes, there's a lot of things in place.
Balance, 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 balance. So, I think, taking a look at everything as, how can we tie all this back into, whether it's the markets or whether it's a career. I think for me, when you take a look at everything across the board, like I think like even when it comes to the markets, like understanding from an entrepreneurship perspective, like what it takes to run a publicly traded company. Like you kind of grow some respect a lot more for, some of the counterparts that you might be owning or have ownership on Wall Street, right? Like I have respect for these individuals and these CEOs who are running these top tier companies, right? Because I understand how difficult it is, even as a small business owner, how difficult it is to operate a business, let alone, right, the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. He has billions of users using his iPhones, right? Like think about the pressure you have on yourself as a leader. So I think as the entrepreneurship thing is like, yo, if you can really understand these basic principles and these basic concepts of entrepreneurship, I think it makes trading and investing a lot easier, right? And I would say that when I got into the stock market, the thing that I love the most about the stock market is the ability to be able to, at the end of the day, um, learn, right? Learn more. Like I think I love that. I love that. Like I'm able to learn more about life, right? I'm able to learn more about life. And I think I love that the most about more than anything. I learn more about life. So, that's my reality is me able to, compare a business on Wall Street, also comparing it to my life and pull from it. The wealthiest individuals in this world, they understand business, they understand stocks, they understand real estate, they understand all of these different things. So it's more so about trends. Like even if we take a look, everything that is a trend, understanding the business world, right? There's going to be trends. There's going to be things that, move to the upside, things that move to the downside based upon trends. And if you can understand that from a business standpoint first, it makes investing in companies a lot easier. Like my view of the world is I'm able to see where the world is going right now. Like in real time, I can see where the world is heading to right now. I can see all these things, right? I'm foreshadowing it and I'm seeing it. The world is going digital. It's happening right in front of your eyes,
Right.
right? The world is going digital right now. Now, how do I classify the world as going digital? Well, I can say that there's going to be more cybersecurity companies that become involved, which is a true statement. If things are going more digital, you need more cybersecurity. So I think it's like, you know, the business and entrepreneurship side, like it just makes sense. Maybe for me, and this is where coming into even the job side, there's places that you might be working at right now that may be an integral part in changing the landscape or the future of the world. So if you're able to understand that, once again, it makes investing easier, right? So being an entrepreneur, studying economics, all of those different things made me a better investor because I understand what to look for and what not to look for a lot more. Tiara, anything to add on before we wrap up here tonight?
Yeah, like well, I mean, what I also wanted to just touch on is like how I like leverage business credit. So with my accountant, she actually gave me like she's amazing to me. Okay, she gave me like a small task, and so she told me she basically said put all of like your business expenses on this credit card and then pay it off the next day. Okay, so I
Mhm.
was able to scale, so I can get up to a lot of funding. Okay, that's what I'll say here. And it's like every day I'm getting just opportunities, but I want to make sure what I do is going to make sense. Okay, so that's why it's important for you all to really understand, like you really have a strong foundation. Okay, listen to your
Yeah.
business plan. Focus on what you have to do. Okay, in terms of execution. And what I also think is important is knowing your role as a CEO. Okay, you should not be doing tasks that your assistant that should be doing. You should not be doing tasks that maybe people in marketing needs to do. Okay, your whole mindset, business development. Okay,
I
dead
like
for real, like for real. So that's what I also wanted to touch on
so
because I
now
had to
now
learn that. I had to learn that when I was a one woman show. I had to learn that.
Tiara be up, man. Tiara be up till what, 2, 3 a.m.
Yeah. Yes, yes. But what I'm thankful for is that, so like, shout out to Rachel, Rosalind, and Ruthie. So Rachel actually, I'm sorry, no, Ruthie put constraints. So I can only meet with 5 clients a day. That's it.
Mm.
Because she saw how I'm putting a lot of wear and tear on my body. And it's just helping me to just like stick to that. So I really appreciate that. Because she's noticing red flags and me overworking, like Lauren said. Because
Yeah.
there's no way I should be able to function 2 days without sleep. Because I can. That's
Yeah.
not good. That's not
Sleep,
good.
sleep is important, man. Sleep is important. Like I go to bed, like right after this show, y'all, I'm going to bed. Real talk, because sleep
Yeah.
is super important. I think as an entrepreneurship, that's one of the things we didn't talk about tonight, but we're gonna close the show out. Like a lot of people are probably gonna be like, Lawrence, you have these long nights? No, I never do. I go to bed at 9 o'clock. I wake up at 6, like 5, 6 a.m. and I put in work because your sleep is super important. That's how
Yeah,
you're gonna be able to operate at a high level. For me, if I
absolutely.
don't have sleep, I'm not gonna be able to operate at a high level. So, you hear a lot of times these people like, you need to be up at 3 in the morning doing this. If you're not up at 3 in the morning, you're not a real grinder. But for me, nah, get your sleep, get your rest, because
Yeah,
that's going to allow you to operate. Because cool, you stayed up till 3 a.m. and woke up at 6, but by 10 a.m. you crashed and you had a major business meeting at 12 p.m. You didn't even
right. No,
you
what
didn't,
happens?
you didn't even make it to there.
No,
So
what happens?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. So I would even just say to your point, like, and again, that's something that's really big that I had to learn because I would do that at LinkedIn, working on the weekends, working at night. Like I would have managers that were like, we're really concerned about your work-life balance. They would literally message me. They said, you're doing great,
yeah,
but you got to learn when to stop. Like in all
yeah,
honesty, mm, yeah, no, I had my dad to have also like a serious talk with me. Like at that time, I was kind of like following, if you guys know, like Quincy Jones, like that musician,
mhm,
he had like, almost had like brain aneurysms because he was overworking himself. And my dad was like, I'm concerned. I don't want you to go that path. So now, no, now I'm getting sleep and I love it here. I love it here. I've also learned when I'm maximizing my time, I'm just sectioning off the day. So yeah, so now I have like 3 days dedicated to me only working on resumes and LinkedIn profiles, right? And then the other 2 days, I'm just in terms of me like meeting with clients and things like that. So yeah, I'm making sure I'm adding in necessary breaks because I want to be myself, so for my clients and for myself and for
yeah.
Waffles too, my puppy. So yeah,
Waffles, what's up, Waffles?
yes. Oh my gosh, y'all, he's sleeping right now. He is knocked out. He was actually at the Breakthrough Conference too. He was at security. So
Yep. Waffles, waffles, waffles. Man. So nah, definitely, like I said, super, super duper important.
yeah,
Definitely wanted to highlight those things. So this has been another episode of Monday Night Take, man. Me and Tiara got a lot of stuff cooking up in the pipeline. I'm hearing rumors about potentially a tour happening again in a few months down the line. So you never
yeah,
know
it's
what
happening,
that
y'all. It's
live.
happening.
And never know, we could do a Monday Night Take episode live in person, man. That's
Oh wait, y'all, listen. Wait a minute. We should.
yeah, we definitely
We got to
should.
get
We
on the
definitely
books.
should have that combo. We'll have that combo
Yeah,
offline,
yeah,
man.
we should. We
But
will.
me and TR, we had a great content shoot. We did a wonderful photo shoot. Shout out to our good brother Javier, fire with the graphics and
Yeah, he's dope.
everything that he does. So shout out to him with the video editing and him and his team. Special shout out to him. But we got a lot of stuff coming to you guys here. Just make sure you guys are, liking the video, sharing these videos.
Yeah.
We're gonna be bringing on some guests as well too. We got some guests in the pipeline. So a lot. So this show happens pretty much here every Monday, 8 p.m. EST. You guys can catch pretty much the recordings here on the Come Up Series YouTube. Next week topic, we're getting back into these markets, man. First off, next week is employment week. So we gotta have a conversation about
Hell yeah.
the market. And also as well, we got to talk about these markets. So there's gonna be we're gonna have a lot for you guys next week. Make sure you guys tap in. Super appreciative of y'all, man. Much love.
Thank
Let's get
y'all.
the bag, man. Shout out to
Yes.
Tiara. Shout out to
Yes,
Uncle
y'all.
Charles. Shout out to the whole Come Up series, man. So, we'll see you guys back here next week. Y'all have a
Let's
blessed one and see y'all soon.
bye, y'all.
Peace.